Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Green Glow Gourmet. I'm your host, Roxanne, and for tonight's recipe, we are going to be making zucchini pesto. So the way it works, you can either do this raw, meaning you're not cooking it, or you can cook it. So I have a very large zucchini from my garden, and what I'm going to do is I am going to cut off the ends, and then I'm going to peel it, and I am going to use the spiralizer. This is a 5-blade spiralizer. I'm using the 3mm blade tonight. So we're gonna do that. I have a fresh tomato from the garden, and I also have basil from my garden. I have store-bought organic spinach. I have a lemon, garlic, pine nuts, and miso paste. So I am going to cut this up. I'm going to show you how we use the spiralizer to make the noodles, the zucchini noodles. Sometimes you'll hear this called Zoodles. And all it is, it's the zucchini that you put through the spiralizer to make the noodle shape. And then you have the option of making your pesto, which for your pesto sauce, you're going to use 3 cloves of garlic, or I'm actually going to use the minced garlic, and I love garlic. So you can use as much or as little as you like. I'm gonna use about 2.5 to 3 teaspoons of the minced garlic. I'm gonna use a bunch of fresh basil from my garden, a cup of organic pine nuts, the juice of a medium-sized lemon, which I have here. It's already cut, and we're gonna juice it. And then 1 tomato chopped, and then a teaspoon of miso paste. You can get miso paste. I got this online. It's the miso paste. It has no MSG added. It's a product of Japan. All it is soybean paste. And that's what gives it a salty flavor. So it calls for a teaspoon. For me, that's too much. So what I do, I add about 1/4 of a teaspoon. And then I'm going to blend all of those ingredients in the Nutrabullet for the pesto sauce, and I'll taste it. And depending on the taste, I might have to add some more miso paste, but I'd rather have to add than it be too salty and it ruin it completely. I also love the taste of basil, so I use a lot of basil. And the mix with the spinach will kind of blend together, and it won't be that powerful of a taste if you're not a true basil lover. So we're gonna start this. I'm gonna cut the zucchini. I'm gonna peel it. We're gonna come back. I'm gonna show you how to use the spiralizer. Like I said, when you make the pesto sauce, if you wanted to, after you make these zoodles, you could just pour that pesto sauce right on the zucchini noodles and eat it that way. And that is considered a raw dish. If you want to cook it, you take, which is what I'm going to do. I used to do it raw, but I'm going to cook it this time. After I make the zoodles, I am going to heat them up in a pan, and then I'm also going to pour the pesto sauce over it when it's done, and then I will eat it that way. I will eat it warm. Some people like to eat it raw, room temperature, cold. Me, I'm not big on that, so I like it warm. So I will definitely cook my noodles or zoodles, and I will heat it up and eat it warm. So we'll be right back, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so we have the zucchini cut. I cut it on each end. I put it inside the spiralizer, and we are going to make our zoodles. So all you do is just push. You can see it's coming out. It's not going in the container, so I'm going to help it along a little bit. All right, so, and you can decide the size blade you want, so that if you want your noodles thicker or thinner, you can do that. This is a 3mm, like I said. It's a nice size. It's not too skinny, it's not too thick. Look how long these zoodles are. They're so long. So I will definitely be cutting them as in half or a few different ways before I actually cook them. So this is going to be a lot of Zoodles. And I love this gadget. I just got this. I used to have a spiralizer and I didn't think I was going to use it anymore. So I got rid of it. And of course, then I decided that I need one. So I had to buy one again. But I like this one better. I like the blades. It's a much newer and more modern. The one I had before worked fine. It was just older. It was bigger. This is smaller. So it's really good. It doesn't take up a lot of space. So I like this one. This is by Brieftons, Brieftons. And like I said, I got it on Amazon. So you will find that on there. All right, this is all I'm going to do for now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend my garlic, spinach, basil, pine nuts, and lemon. I'm not going to blend the tomatoes until the end. And I will let you know how that looks. I'm going to do it in the Nutrabullet and we'll be right back. Okay, so I just blended everything in the Nutrabullet. And when you blend it, if you blend it for a few minutes, you will notice it gets warm. And you will have a warm sauce ready to go that you can pour right on top of your Zoodles if you decide that you're going to eat it raw. So I tasted it before I put in the tomato and I really liked it. I probably could have done it without the tomato. It's up to you. I just did it. It's just another way to get another vegetable in. So I added it. And when you put your pine nuts in, put your pine nuts in first rather than last because it sometimes makes it hard for it to grind in the Nutrabullet. And then I did have to add a little bit of water just to get it going, but you don't want to put a lot of water in the Nutrabullet in this sauce. It will water it down too much. Also, it calls for the juice of half a medium-sized lemon. I used about a tablespoon of the fresh squeezed lemon juice because sometimes that lemon taste is too overpowering for me. So this tastes delicious. I taste the tomato, and I think it's because even though it was just one small tomato, it's so fresh from the garden. I really think anytime you get your fruits or vegetables from your own garden that you're making and you're picking them and it's fresh, they have such a stronger, better taste. The tomatoes don't have that high acidity like the ones from the store because they're fresh. So you can do this two ways. What I'm gonna do, I have a lot of Zoodles here. So I'm gonna split this up and I'm gonna do it in different batches. And I'm going to pour the pesto sauce over my Zoodles, and then I'm just gonna heat it up in a pan, or you could just do the Zoodles first. Just really push them around, make it a little bit, hot, give it that warm temperature. That's what I like. Just to cook it for about 5-10 minutes on the stove. Pour your pesto sauce on, and then while it's still in the pan, just to get everything nice and hot, and we'll come right back and see what that tastes like. Okay, so I cooked the Zoodles on the stove for about 6 minutes, and the zucchini has a very neutral taste, as I've said before, and it also is very liquidy. So when you're cooking it, a lot of water comes from the zucchini. So when you're done cooking, you want to drain it in a strainer, and then what I did was I poured some pesto sauce on top, and I also put some of the raw noodles in to mix it. So I have some cooked, some raw. I put the pesto sauce in, I stirred it together. We're gonna try it in 1 minute. I wanted to tell you what else you could do with the pesto sauce that is so delicious. If you like mushrooms, you can do stuffed mushroom caps. So I've made these before on my channel if you go back and look at the recipe. But you just can take any type of mushroom, wash your mushrooms, rinse them off really well, pat them dry, take off the stem, and stuff them with the pesto sauce. So try that recipe. You can go back and look at that. If you do that, you just bake it for 45 minutes on 350. But this is our Zoodle pesto dish that we made, and we're gonna try it. Very good, and you do not have to feel guilty eating this. This is a delicious meal. You could have this with a salad. You could have this with another vegetable. Replace your processed noodles with Zoodles, zucchini noodles. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you try this recipe. If you do it differently than I did, let me know. I'd love to hear your tips and tricks. I did use a very little bit of miso paste, and that was enough for me. I did not use a whole teaspoon. That would have been way too salty for my taste. But start with a little. As I always say, you can always add more. You can never take away, and you don't want to ruin your dish after you spent the time making it. Please go to my website if you're interested in learning more about plant-based coaching and how to add more plants into your diet. It's www.greenglowcoaching.com. We can schedule a call. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, Green Glow Gourmet, so you can learn tips and tricks and new recipes. I come to you with a new recipe every week. So here's to a healthier you, and I'll see you next week.